Welcome back to Matt Time. I am Daniel Tension, joined as always by my good friend Zach Sayre. How you doing tonight, Zach?
I'm doing great tonight. Wonderful evening. Going to be joined by a very special guest this evening, so I'm excited to get going.
And you're starting to make this a trend that you don't ask me how I'm doing, even though that is standard protocol.
Yeah, at this point, I don't care how you're.
I just feel like
how you're doing, Big Dan.
I feel like you're throwing shade at me.
How are you doing, Big Dan?
I'm doing well, coming off of a absolutely unbelievable state tournament this weekend in Huntington. It was just incredible, and of course, we got a whole episode dedicated to just talking the chaos that was Huntington. But like you said, tonight, special guest with Coach Irwin. But before we get there, I think you got something to say.
Yep. We'd just like to give a special shout out to our partners, Chain Wrestling. Chain Wrestling, join the chain. Created by athletes for athletes. Cultivated for the uncommon. Apparel for the everyday grind. If you've not got your Chain Wrestling Matt Time apparel yet, go to chainwrestling.co, click under partners, and go to Matt Time. Use Matt Time 22 as a 15% discount code. Get your gear today.
Everybody really liked this hat. Of course, I didn't have my beanie. I got it. You'll see it in the next episode. I've got my beanie finally that I promised was here. But yeah, great weekend and huge weekend coming up this weekend. We got the Division II Nationals, and that being said, we're going to welcome our guest, Coach Irwin. How you doing tonight, Coach?
Hey, doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to talk some wrestling.
Nah, man, we appreciate you stopping en route to St. Louis to take the time and talk to us.
Well, get a chance to be on the show and just, obviously fill everybody in on what's going on at the Hilltop. Excited to take the time to be able to talk wrestling and, move this thing forward.
Absolutely. And good things still happening up there. Still ranked in the top 5 as a team. Got a plethora of kids heading out to St. Louis. 8 qualified, I believe.
Yep.
We're talking about all
qualifiers.
Those kids and how you got them prepared for this, but not everyone is real familiar with how you ended up being the head coach at Westlib, because it wasn't that long ago. We saw you having a lot of success in another program. So how about you take us through a little bit of a summary of that journey getting to this point?
Yeah, I've been just fortunate over the years to be surrounded by great people. I started my college coaching career at Wabash College. Was the head assistant there for 9 years. I was lucky enough to work with Brian Anderson. We won 3 NCAA team trophies together, along with a bunch of other amazing people, and that led me to Wheeling Jesuit, which is now Wheeling University at this time. But I was there. I inherited a great program, a great group of guys, and the second year there, we were national runner-ups in Division II, and had a great team. And long story short, just some decisions were made at the university that I wouldn't say I believed in. At the same time, just West Liberty's position opened up, and just everything came to fruition. And just now I'm surrounded by awesome people from our administration onto the staff around campus, and just a bunch of people that serve our students at a high level. And then you add in our rich tradition and the alumni that we have, and it's allowed us to do a ton right out of the gates, and then finishing up year number 3 here. And last year we finished 4th at the national championships as a team, and had 3 in the finals, and 2 of which were champs. And one of those champs was West Virginia native from East Fairmont and Colea.
Yeah, and the timing was impeccable that you're in Wheeling coaching. Like you said, decisions were made that program just wasn't going to be around anymore. And then right next door in Wheeling, a head coaching job at the collegiate level opens up. That's amazing timing for you.
Perfect timing.
Well, and I just, firm believer, God's got a plan. And as tough as that moment was in time for me and the student athletes involved with, Jesuit's program at the time, that, you look back on it 3 years ago, and, that painful time turned into just a lot of blessings, and getting to be around another great group of people, and just, again, blessed to be on the Hilltop, and, people, having that climb the hill mentality that, we're looking to get it done each and every day.
Absolutely. Now, while you're at Wheeling Jesuit too, The heavyweight, wasn't he from Preston?
Yeah, Preston.
Yeah,
Yeah, Terrence Fanning. Yeah,
yeah,
he
Fanning.
won the national title at heavyweight, and yeah, just a phenomenal person, and let alone what he was able to do on the mat. But just Terrence hold dear to the heart, and just yeah, he was a stud. Not fun to wrestle with day in day out, but
I was gonna say that is a monster of a
the
human
man.
being.
Yeah, that's a man amongst boys right there.
Oh yeah, he was for sure a grown man. Every time you saw that, even in high school, I remember watching him wrestle in high school. He was a horse of a kid. So it
Yep.
was not surprising when I saw he had success there. But back to
Yeah.
our West Lib boys, like you said, West Virginia native winning a national title last year, having a great season this year too, and he's one of our 8 qualifiers. So
Yeah. Cole's had a really good year. He's got I think 3 losses on the year, but he's on quite a run right now, and just he has it dialed in. And obviously he's the defending national champion. But quick story about Cole. Cole was my very first commit. Coming out here. When I was at Wheeling, and they said, "Hey, coach, I want you to be the guy and to coach and be with and mentor." And just so Cole, making the decision to come, up to West Liberty, and his family and so forth was another big step, I think, for not only myself but for West Liberty to really hit the ground running. That a guy like that, made that choice, and that's transpired now into him being a national champ, and him being excited for what is ahead of us here this weekend.
now, you mentioned the West Virginia kids. I feel like West Lib has always done a good job, and you are certainly no exception, of really attacking our West Virginia talent and trying to keep them in state and keep them in a great program like West Lib. And having kids like that has to be invaluable for your recruiting.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I think West Virginia a lot of times is can be overlooked, and people ask, well, where did Cole Leia come from? Where did Terrence Fanning come from? But you think of our 165 pounder, Chase Morgan, and he's now qualified
Ripley
twice.
Boy.
Yeah, at 165. That I think he's a guy that's really bought into our coaching staff and what we've been trying to do day in and day out. And that went from a guy that I don't believe placed at the regional to now being one of the guys of the regional and being back at the national tournament for the second year in a row. And I think he's got some exciting matches ahead of him here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before we went live here and started recording, you was telling us that the Division II format of the national tournament is a little different than what folks are used to in the Division I and even NAIA. So kind of walk the viewers and listeners through exactly how this 18-man bracket gets set in St. Louis.
Yeah, so there's 6 super regionals in Division II. Top 3 per weight class qualify. There's no wild cards. So you're walking into a tournament at the end of the year, and you got to have your day. You got to be ready to wrestle, and you don't finish in the top 3, you're not wrestling at the national tournament. So there's a lot of pressure to it. And so for us to qualify, 8 guys in a high pressure situation like that, is huge. Not only for what it meant that day, but it really sets us up, for the national tournament here in St. Louis.
How do you even go about preparing your guys mentally for that type of weekend to qualify for the dance?
Well, I think first and foremost that our guys come from a place of gratefulness that they're excited for the opportunity to compete, and and just a big thing that wrestling isn't what defines them. It's not what makes one guy more important than another on our team. That we have an all-in approach in our program, and when you're not living and dying by if you win or lose and what that means for you the next day or the day after. And I think it's very freeing, to our student athletes, for them to go out there and just put on their best performance and know that they go out there and compete with a ton of attitude and effort. That and they have that freedom backing that up. That leads to really awesome things on the mat, and they have that sense of competing for one another too. That once a guy like Cole Leia steps out on the mat, and you follow that with a 2-time national champ and Tyler Warner, is just right. That's a good combo to start tournaments off with, and start building that positive momentum.
Coach, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like That was not the answer I was expecting. That was like 1,000 times better than anything I've ever heard a coach say about being ready to wrestle. Like that was incredible. Like it's a great message. Doesn't define you. Go be free, be fast, be loose, leave it on the mat. Good things happen when you wrestle like that. That's a tremendous approach to that. That explains the success this weekend. Sure. I would love to wrestle with that kind of attitude. No pressure approach. I love that.
Yeah, and something I've noticed too with you at West Liberty, coach, is we're familiar with Zach Sampson. He's a Point Pleasant guy, but you just done an outstanding job of building top-notch culture there. So I know when I see kids like Zach Sampson, getting recruited, kids like Colea, kids like Chase Morgan, all West Virginia boys, I know what kind of ship you're running there. You got so much buy-in. A great following in West Virginia. Like I said, I think you've done a phenomenal job with the culture at West Liberty. And you've got yourself in a really good position this weekend. With 8 qualifiers, it's tied for the second most. There's a couple teams there with 8, one team with 9, but you really put yourself in a position to go get another team trophy this year. And I'm excited to watch. I'm excited to see how the weekend how it plays out for you.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, and I think getting a team trophy is something that we want to do, and but ultimately, I think with the 8 guys that we have and the punching power that we have, and our guys looking to go out and score bonus points, that obviously we're looking to compete to the best of our abilities. But I think we can go and do that again like we did at the regionals. That we can walk out of there as a national championship team.
I agree. So
yeah,
not to kind of cut you off, like enough about Coach Irwin. Let's talk about these kids getting on the mat this weekend.
Yep.
How's that sound?
Sounds wonderful. That's why we do it.
We start at 125 with one of our own. Like you said, monster year so far. How's his prep been this week?
He's just, he's really dialed it in. I think in just the last 8 months leading into this, he's gotten better and better, making weight and his nutrition, and just, high level athletes, they really start zoning in, the last, 6-7 weeks, and really eliminate distractions. And Cole's done that really well. And so I think he's really put himself in position. And many would say to defend the national title, when in all reality, this is just another opportunity for him to go win a national title this year.
Right.
All the national titles have already been won in 2021. Now we get an opportunity in 2022.
Good message to syndicate, especially like you said with the kid that comes right after him, because he's had quite a bit of success here too.
Yeah, so our next qualifier at 141 is Tyler Warner. He's been a 4-time All-American. He's won 2 national titles, at 133. And albeit he's not seated, which I think blows some people's minds.
That's strange. I thought that's strange. Don't fully understand that.
Well, and if I wish I could explain it to you, but I can't even explain it to myself in my head. Not in a great way either. But Tyler, he's ready to rock and roll. He's had a number of things this year that he's kind of interrupted some training at times, but in the last 6-7 weeks, he's really just looked better every time out. And regionals was a perfect example of that. He lost to a great kid in the finals, who's the number 2 seed this weekend, but I felt like Tyler really dominated about 6 minutes and 50 seconds of that match. And
right.
2 more weeks of preparation. This is going to be his time to shine again, and really leave a everlasting mark, to cap off his career.
Well, he's not an unseeded kid. Anybody's happy about drawing in the first round. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's a tough draw. You look at the bracket and see his name. That's a rough day at the office for whoever's unlucky enough to come across Tyler there. So
yeah, you can probably count in history. You don't get you're not a seeded wrestler, and probably picking up a guy that's going to end up in the Hall of Fame unseeded, right?
Exactly. We're talking about one of the better talents ever through the school, and this kid's unseeded. Whatever. 2-time champ, no seed. But
he's actually Tyler's actually been to Point Pleasant. He ran a camp for Coach John Bunker there. Would have been early on in his career, I believe. when it was still, Wheeling Jesuit. But yeah, he's a great guy, and I'm looking forward to see him make some noise this weekend.
So who we got next, Coach?
So at 149, we qualified, redshirt freshman Jordan Waters. Jordan's a West Allegheny, Pennsylvania, guy who, with limited competition last year, really didn't get a chance to, I think find his groove. Where this year, he started off hot, suffered an injury that was close to being a season ender, and decided that he was ready and in position to make a run at it. And, he did just that. He came out and I think lit it up at Super Regionals. He beat a two-time defending, two-time returning All-American from Ashland in the semis, and then gave I would say Craig Cook everything he wanted in the finals. Actually led that match I think by 3 points with 15 seconds to go, and Cook from D&E made it happen and came out the victor. But I think some good learning lessons for Jordan, and for him to step into the next biggest stage of his career, and with his skills on top and his mat wrestling, I think he's going to pose a lot of problems for guys this week, especially as we get deeper into the rounds.
Well, that's great to hear, and it's impressive he was able to recover from the injury so well and come back and have such a good showing at regionals to even qualify, because as well as anybody, losing all that mat time, it got to knock the rust off, get back in shape, all that good stuff. So I mean, that's credit to a good room, just as well it is to his own efforts.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there are some other really good kids in the bracket. Gavin Kiocho, Parkersburg South guy, was in the bracket too, and just Jordan. I think he opened up a lot of eyes, and just a testament to the work he's put in day out to go from a guy that didn't start last year to now being at the national tournament his second year in college.
Yeah, those are always good stories. Always good stories to hear that. Being patient, waiting for your time. When you get your chance, go do something.
Yep, no doubt.
And I believe next is Morgan, right? 165.
Oh yeah.
Local boy.
Exactly. He's looked more and more ferocious every time out. He wasn't going into the tournament picked to make it out, and there was 4 returning national qualifiers at the weight, and only 3 of them going to make it, and Chase made it happen that day. He lost I would say a heartbreaker for some, semifinal loss, in overtime. But again, he's a guy that gets stronger with every round. He's one of the most grittiest wrestlers that we have, and just a guy that's really made something of himself on the mat. He's put the time in ever since I arrived to the hilltop, and just said, yes, sir, no, sir. What do I need to do? And he stuck to it, and he's got paid some good dividends from it. And I think this is going to be his best weekend yet. He opens up with the 2 seed, and I don't think the 2 seed has wrestled somebody this year as hard as what Chase Morgan's about to wrestle him.
Right.
Just his style and his in your face, aggressive wrestling.
Right, for 7 minutes too. Come right at you.
7 minutes. Yep. It gets he competes with a chip on his shoulder, and rightfully so. And he brings it. If you're not ready, he's going to show you the door pretty quickly.
Oh, I agree too that he's a product of the program. He's come a very long way since he stepped foot on campus, and it's awesome to see him having such success on the mat right now. Definitely.
Yeah, he's somebody too that he was a leader early on when we were going through some growing pains, and just so I think he's a guy that's really appreciative. His twin brother Chance is somebody that has given everything to the program, and Chance redshirted this year, and those 2 guys they really helped get the ball rolling in the right direction.
I just love hearing it because of my huge West Virginia boy bias.
Yeah, making Ripley proud.
Then we got one of our champs at 74.
Yeah, Ty McGeary. Yeah, he would have technically qualified last year, but with it being a COVID year, they didn't take all the third placers, and it was a voting. And let's just say that meeting didn't go West Liberty's way on the votes, and so he was left at home. And I think that's just something he carried with him throughout the spring and summer. And not that winning a regional title there at the qualifier wasn't a big deal to him, but he's got bigger things in mind, and he's a guy that we feel like he's got a high probability of winning a national title, because of the way he lives his life, and the year he's already had and the way he puts up points, that he's going to be a fun one to watch, much like the rest of them.
Yeah, that would definitely leave a bitter taste in one's mouth. That on a normal year you get third, you're going to the Nationals, get a chance to wrestle again, show that you deserve to be there, and then they don't take you. I don't think it was hard to motivate that kid at all this season.
No, he showed it time and time again this year. And he's somebody who's put up bonus points for us. And I mentioned to you guys earlier, bonus points I think is going to be a big deal for West Liberty and achieving what we want to achieve, in St. Louis. And so Ty's done that time and time again. And I think he scored bonus in all his matches at the regionals, and he's going to be capable again of scoring bonus at the national tournament.
Yeah, in those tight team races, for sure, bonus points early and often. Anytime you can get into that bonus criteria, it's helpful when it's going to be a tight race at the top.
Yeah, putting those per se those ghost All-Americans on the podium, and it's something that we again we talked about, that freeing thing where guys are willing to take risk, but it's allowed them to really grow their wrestling and score points, and next thing you know they break matches wide open, and it gives us that extra point, the 2 points in bonus.
Yeah, which is always well needed. And like you say, you have a lot of kids on the mat that like to push the pace, and let's be honest, if you got the technical skills to go with your pace, it's hard to keep up.
Yep, no doubt.
You see that at all levels. Those kids that can push pace and keep technique, it's just hard to keep up with them.
Yeah, well, especially too when something doesn't go their way, and maybe they start down the match. They're used to scoring those kind of points and can push through those moments and make those kind of comebacks. That most people they get behind, they don't know what to do, rather than just go out and score the next point.
Right, they start instantly thinking panic mode and maybe try to throw. And if you stick to the game plan and grind like you normally do, you can actually chip away that lead pretty quick.
Exactly.
And at 84, another champ with Craig.
Yeah,
hammer
Connor,
right here.
Yeah.
He's an absolute hammer. He's one of the most competitive guys I've ever been around, and whether we're playing dodgeball or any other game, he wants to win it. And he was a national champ at Wheeling Jesuit with me. He was a national runner-up last year. Probably lost to one of the most pound for pound top guys in the country, and Connor was one of them himself. So it was a heck of a finals match, and we could see that same finals match here in St. Louis. But something that he's excited about, and we're excited about, and I think he's more than prepared. But he's a guy that he lights up the scoreboard, and he's dangerous in all positions, especially from the top position.
Yeah, like you said, that's another kid that didn't probably take a whole lot to motivate him, being so close, getting the taste, and not quite getting it last year. So I'd say he came in ready to roll this year. Seems like most of the team, really, every kid has a self-motivating story, which has to make things a lot easier for you.
Well, I think anytime you got to pull the reins back on somebody rather than kick them in the butt, right? It makes the journey a lot better, and allows you to get to where you want to be. But yeah, we got some highly motivated guys and coaches, and just up and down our lineup that they're a fun group, and just the competitiveness that they have, but at the same time, the investment they have in one another. Connor's been a integral part of helping Ty McGeary, not only technically, but I think just develop that that killer instinct to go out there and take what you want. And so I give Connor a lot of credit with the relationship him and Ty have, and them building their wrestling together.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron, man. One of my favorite sayings.
True that.
Now, the next one we're going to talk about is I don't know if you've ever watched the show or anything, but I am horribly biased to big boys. I am a huge fan of upper weight wrestling. It's my favorite of all the wrestlings. This kid is having a monster year.
Well, we think we got a couple of big boys that everybody likes, and we got Logan Kemp, who's now at the national tournament for the fourth time, in program history at 197. And,
Yep.
Logan had he had the opportunity. I think, there for a point after the national tournament, he was done with wrestling. And, he decided that, about midway through the summer, hey, I want to come back. And, I got some unfinished business, ahead. And, and he's had a really good year. And, he was in what we talked about earlier, just a really tough regional. The number one seed didn't make it out from Glenville State, returning All-American, didn't make it out. But Logan went through that bracket and qualified his weight class. And, he's somebody that, I won't be surprised at all if he's one of the next Hilltoppers wrestling for a national title individually, here in St. Louis.
I agree. Like I said, horribly biased to the big boys. Once you start getting to 97 and 285, you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
This is what I love.
Well, and, Logan's got that, he's mean, he looks like, he's almost mad all the time, but I tell you what, he's a great individual, great person. And, he's somebody who's grown a lot during my time from the first day on campus and our first team meeting to where we're at now with our relationship. And just, we have I would say a lot of trust in one another. And, he's, I think he's going to be the straw that stirs the drink for us this weekend that, he's going to be an integral part of what we do.
Oh yeah. I think he's one of those ones that can score points that maybe people don't expect you to score. Just looking at brackets, they're like, all right, maybe not going to score here, but I think he's going to push deep personally.
Yeah.
I think he's a very good wrestler.
Well, I think we're both right on that.
Yeah. He has my permission to go show everybody how smart we are.
Exactly.
On by me. On by me. And then we wrap up with undefeated heavyweight, right?
Yeah, Francesco Borsellino. He is, what an anchor he is for the program. And he's undefeated on the year. He's returning All-American. And I think he's got 10 or 11 falls on the year out of I want to say maybe 19 matches he's wrestled. So he goes out there. He looks to make it happen, which it's huge. I think on the team side of things, but also I think it's a lot of fun for the fans to see a guy that's 6'5", 260 pounds. I better not say too much. He might not get sensitive about his weight. I think about 260. That he goes out there and he doesn't wrestle like a typical heavyweight. He shoots. He's upper body. He can do it all.
He moves well. And like you said, he's not a small lad.
Not at all.
But he does fit the mold though of the new successful heavyweight.
Yeah, he does.
He's that hybrid. He's very athletic and he's not overly heavy. So he fits that perfect mold, and it's not shocking that he's having this kind of success wrestling that style.
No, not at all. Well, especially too, obviously, with our coaching staff, we have, Coach Mike Carpenter, who's been with the program now, I believe 7 years. And, I was lucky enough for him to stay on staff and, just a West Virginia native, he was a national qualifier at West Liberty then too. And, you get a guy like, Coach Carp and Borsellino, wrestling each other, starts making the room feel really small when you get two huge guys like that can, wrestle like lightweights per se, scrapping with one another. It's a fun time watching those two.
Oh, I guarantee it. I'm sure Coach gets the upper hand though, right? He still got it.
Well, if Coach Carp was on here, last year I would say, for sure, Coach Carp would have won in the match, but now, again, a testament to Coach of him mentoring, Francesco, and just also Borsellino's just will to want to get better and prove that. I would say Borsellino's getting the best of him, that Coach Carp is still one tough out, but now that Borso is where he is, it's a battle.
Maybe,
you see a lot of blood flying at times.
Right. So the gap is very close now.
It's very close, which is a good sign, with our entire coaching staff, that guys can compete with us, and we know they're going to compete for national titles.
Oh, I agree. That's a wealth of experience in that room. Like you said, be able to keep some of the coaching staff from before. A lot of great guys there, and you guys have built a tremendous room. I mean, I hate to say something so cliche, but the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Most definitely.
Especially when you have so many great talents that close in weight class. I mean, what training card are you? Because you can't beat that.
Yeah. Well, it's a good recipe, not only for success, but just for fun and getting to do it with one another rather than just being an individual here or there, that they feed off each other. And, just, it's going to be a fun trip doing what we're about to do in St. Louis.
It sounds like that's like your running theme. Have fun. Have fun. We do the sport. We're right. Have fun. Go loose. Have fun. Win.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Monday at practice, we almost didn't even wrestle Monday this week. We got into some pretty heated dodgeball games. The first few were lopsided, so we repicked teams, and which made it close. And next thing you know, my team's losing, and just I think the other team was upset because my team was down. And I just said, last game, hey, winner takes all. And I think it got in their heads a little bit, and Coach Irwin's team came out with the dub.
You're only as good as your last. Only as good as your last.
Exactly.
You did the head coach mind trick on us.
Exactly. Well, we turned into a good learning lesson, right? This weekend, and no matter what happens, it's not going to, everything's going to go our way, but we got to just continue to take it and score the next point and, turn the next page, no matter what happens, 10 seconds ago or the previous match per se.
Absolutely. So walk us through the weekend. Like, how can those at home tune in and follow the Hilltoppers this weekend in St. Louis?
Yeah, so there'll be a couple different ways. Follow us on Facebook, West Liberty University Wrestling, or on Twitter. I think it's WLU Wrestling. We'll be posting updates. We'll be posting links to be able to watch online. And there'll be interviews with athletes, coaches, you name it. That our team with Don Clegg and Rex Lancaster and just number of people just do a great job of promoting wrestling and marketing our guys in the sport of wrestling on campus. That that'd be the two best ways to stay completely up to date, that be able to watch and just see results in general.
Love it. I love it. And when you get some of these boys, actually all these boys, come back with hardware and you bring them trophies, we'll have all y'all on here. We'll talk about these epic dodgeball games as a team, so we can see if
we can get both sides of the story.
Exactly. Let's see if the wrestlers agree with old coach and see if there might be some trickery afoot.
Well, well, at least say I hold my own, right? I still hold my own on the mat and still hold my own in dodgeball. But they'll be a good group of guys to get on and talk wrestling and just their mentality and what they appreciate about the sport that we all love.
Absolutely. We love talking wrestling. I mean, that's why we're here.
Yep.
We love it. Well, Coach, safe travels the rest of the way. I know you're close and the boys are coming out tomorrow, you said?
Yeah, so I'm in the kind of the first party, getting out to the hotel, getting things set up. So guys fly in tomorrow to St. Louis and check in and all that stuff will go smooth. And got the workout tomorrow evening and just start getting acclimated to the venue and practice Thursday. And then I think the first whistle's 11 o'clock Central Time on Friday with the opening round, and then come back with that night session, I believe at 6 p.m. Central Time, and where guys will punch their way into the semis, and that's where I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to punch our way into the semis, at that second session Friday night.
Absolutely. Go ahead and get on the podium early and see how high you can climb.
Exactly.
I like the strategy, Coach. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck this weekend. Safe travels to everybody, and hey, you're making West Virginia proud already. So just keep carrying the flag for some West Virginia wrestling, man. We love it.
I'm proud to be a part of the state of West Virginia and just seeing the growth that the state's made, and the new college programs that we have. That again, I think people overlook it at times, and that's their own mistake. Where guys like us and you guys, we know what it is and where it's going, and it's nothing but up. Year after year from here on out.
There's a ton of talent here, and don't forget, last year there were 2 national champs in Division II from West Virginia.
Yep.
2. And in NAIA, we already got one. Dane Landon from Huntington High done got one. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, all these West Virginia boys, if they're at West Lib, they are a West by God boy, plain and simple. They can go out and win all the national titles they want.
No doubt about it. Well, they're proud to represent West Liberty in the state of West Virginia, and just again to have the support that we have from everybody across the country. It's going to be exciting. And we sold, over 100 tickets, to St. Louis. We got people flying in from all over and coming,
Awesome.
from obviously the Valley, and it's we're going to have that support out in the stands, let alone the online presence that we're going to have from people supporting from their households.
Oh, I'll be one of them.
Yeah.
I will be one of them supporting right here, no doubt.
Yes, sir.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll have you back on soon, and we can talk about the success of this weekend. Sound good?
Well, I'm looking forward to it, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on, and again, it's going to be a fun weekend, and just awesome for the state of West Virginia.
I agree, man. Well, we appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for joining us, Coach. Appreciate it, and good luck this weekend.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Climb the hill.
I'm
Yes,
the hill.
sir.